Mothers and fathers, husbands and wives, sisters and brothers, friends for life, won't live in the past. All I wanna do now is making it last.
Why should one distinguish between mental health and mental wellness? Welcome to Making It Last podcast. I'm your host, Nurgil. It's all about helping us to have better relationships, not just with ourselves, but with other people. So that is what we're going to be talking about this time around, and with Raeann Simmonds. She's the founder of Mental Tilt and a mental health coach. Welcome, Raeann.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Who or what is Mental Tilt before we get into the conversation?
Well, the Mental Tilt is an organization which was founded on helping breaking mental health stigma. We now offer mental health coaching, which is simply helping persons who may feel stuck in life, just helping them maneuver through the emotions. They may not be able to maneuver through life circumstances, helping people cope. And that's basically what the Mental Tilt does. We also offer journals, things that help build your mental health.
Okay. And if somebody wants to find out more about your organization, where can they find you?
They can find us on Facebook, they can find us on Instagram, or they can get us at 573-4863.
Okay. And I'm sure you meant the 876 before that.
Yes.
Okay. All right. All right. So repeat the number, 876?
876-573-4863.
All right. So you just heard about Mental Tilt. So you recognize why it is that she is qualified and competent to speak about this particular topic. Now, mental health. What is that?
Mental health is how our cognitive, our behavioral, and our emotional well-being. It's basically how we think, how we act, and how we feel. Okay. That's our mental health. Yes.
Mental wellness.
Our mental wellness, on the other hand, is how we realize who we are, how we communicate with others, how we handle stress. So our mental wellness is actually a result of our mental health. And I must also say here that mental health is not just the absence of mental illness.
You want to elaborate on that a little bit more for us? Because a lot of time, once people hear just mental health without anything else, they think of different disorders, they think of schizophrenia, all of those different things. So elaborate a little bit more about that.
Right. So you don't have to have a mental illness to be mentally unwell or for your mental well-being to not be right. So, like you said, people think about mental health and the first thing they think about is someone who's depressed or look a particular way. But sometimes on the day-to-day, we may not be functioning the way we're supposed to. We may not be coping the way that we're supposed to. And that means that our mental well-being and our mental health is not where it's supposed to be.
What are some of the things that are, well, let me not say things, but some of the signs then that we can, get a feeling that, okay, here we need to really just take a bit more attention or pay some more attention to what is happening to us mentally. Because some of us might say, oh, I'm just feeling a little off today, and ignore maybe some things that over time can become problematic.
Some of the most common things that people may experience is insomnia. So all of a sudden you realize that you're lying down, tossing, turning, you can't fall asleep. Maybe it's because thoughts are running through your mind, or maybe you just can't settle at night. Eating, you're having problems, you don't want to eat, or you're overeating. That's also a sign that something can be wrong because our body sympathizes with our mind. So we have that issue as well. Another thing is that you're more irritable. So you may be, on a normal day, somebody may tell you something and you're just a little bit more irritable than usual. You have sadness, and it may not be the depressive sadness, but you start to see that usually how you would handle something, you're not really handling it the same way. Your coping mechanisms start to deteriorate. So those are some of the most common things that you would see starting to happen.
Mm-hmm. What then are some of the different ways that you recommend for people if it is that you are finding that you're not as you should be mentally? What are some of the things you'd recommend so that people then look towards getting to being mentally well?
Okay, so firstly, being honest with yourself, understanding that mental health is something that changes on a daily basis. You go through different emotions, being honest with yourself and knowing that nothing is wrong with that. Going through those processes and knowing who you are helps a lot in terms of being mentally well. Another thing you do, exercise. Exercise helps naturally to release certain hormones in you that activate the brain and help you to keep on a high mood, as you would say. Another thing that you can do is understand things that you can't change. So not worrying about things that you cannot change. Journaling. Journaling is a good help. So with journaling, what you do is you reach a situation, you don't know what to do. You write down some of the things that are bothering you concerning the situation. You mark off, for example, what can I change? What can't I change? And the things that you change, you work on them. So it's a constant process that you have to go through, just working step by step to keep your mental health well.
I know some males are listening or watching and they're saying, she just said journaling. I think that's really just for female. What would you recommend for a male who's listening and saying, I don't think that's for me?
Males may not journal as females, but I think it's important that they journal as well. They may not be as emotional. They may want to reason things differently. Okay. So it will help them to reason out things differently, write out what it is the situation that they have at hand, and just go through the same steps to reason out the situation. So it may not be like the female, I feel sad today. Why do I feel sad? And that kind of thing. It might just be, I'm thinking about buying a car. What are some of the processes that I would have to go through to do that? And that will help their mental health as well. Just help them to understand their thought process, who they are and how they make decisions. That would help them as well.
I am sure you've heard the term mental health a lot, but at least in this particular podcast, you're learning the difference between mental health and mental wellness. But we must take a break from this conversation and get a word from our partners.
For all your events, such as educational forums, workshops, book launches, weddings, and more, contact Noreen Daly, the ultimate MC and event host. Visit NoreenDaily.com or follow her on Instagram at NoreenDailyJam. Noreen Daily, creating long-lasting memories.
Are you looking for one-of-a-kind products customized to suit your needs? Then shop at Trending Things, the place where customization is always an option. From personalized gifts to apparel, accessories, drinkware, and home decor, you name it, we make it. Get your favorite designs on any item for party favors, weddings, graduations, or any special occasion, all at affordable prices. What are you waiting for? Visit our website at trendingthings.com to order your trendy item today. Trending Things, bringing creativity to the things you love.
So, the whole idea of a branding strategy sounded so exotic and so fancy to me. But after having several conversations with Neon, I now have a clearer understanding. I am sure of what my identity is, what it is that I want people to see Noreen Daily as. Thanks Neon, thanks Splint. Visit them at wearesplint.com.
Mental health, mental wellness. Can we use those terms interchangeably? Let's continue the conversation. Backtrack a bit because you said that people need to be honest
Yes.
with themselves.
Yes.
And I sense that for that to happen, there needs to be a certain level of self-awareness that I really don't think sometimes people are quite there yet. So for those who are still on that journey, because it is an ongoing journey, but for those who are not quite there yet, how then can they really be honest with themselves, Raeann?
There are two things that you can do. Firstly, you can recognize if you can't do it on your own, because sometimes we need help to recognize that something is wrong with us. And especially in a situation where you feel stuck, you know, some people may have persons who are telling them certain things about, they're seeing certain things in them, but they can't see it themselves. And sometimes we need a second eye to help us evaluate. That's where therapy may come in. You may realize that you're getting into certain situations over and over, and you can't understand why, and you feel stuck. You need someone else to help you to maneuver through those circumstances and to realize that, okay, this is what's happening. It does not mean that something is wrong with you. It just means that based on whatever you may have been going through, this is just where you are, and how do you move forward from that? That is one way of doing it. The other way of doing it is when you feel certain emotions. For example, you get in a situation and somebody gets you angry. You start to ask yourself questions. Why did this circumstance affect me the way that it is? And when you listen to those answers and you start to realize, oh, you know, this reminds me of something that may have happened, and you start to be aware of those things that may be triggers for you, or things that may be things that just remind you of certain situations, that helps as well.
You mentioned therapy, and I know that is almost like a bad word for a lot of people.
That's true.
Yeah, it is. And even with COVID and people paying more attention to their mental health, I still don't think a lot of people are as comfortable with the whole idea of therapy as they could be. How does one get to the point where they say to themselves, you know, I've tried this, I've sought help maybe from trusted friends or other persons, but I really think it's probably time, you know, to get professional help and to get therapy. You know, at what point would you recommend that somebody say, you know, it's probably time to just seek the professional and really, you know, get some therapy?
So honestly, what it is I've noticed over time is that that's a choice that someone needs to come to themselves. For themselves, they need to make that choice. And getting to that place, sometimes it really takes, like you said, trusted friends to kind of maybe nudge. But how do you get to that place? It really has to be that you want change. That is the driving factor. You have to realize within yourself that something is wrong and I want to move past it. Something is wrong, but I know it can be fixed and I can't do it alone. And it's okay to say that I'm not okay and I need help. And the thing about it is a lot of people are scared about their business getting out. Who am I going to talk to? Who can I trust? And that's where I think we need to be able to provide resources for persons. Where can they go to get this kind of help? So yeah, it's a personal, I'm here, but I want to reach here. I can't do it alone, so I need help.
I think also, Raeann, is that people need to share what's happening with them. For me, I remember years ago, I got to a point where I realized that I needed closure. for a particular situation in my life, and I went and I got therapy, and it actually helped. And, if ever I get to that point again, I think I would actually go into therapy. But I think, as you said, a lot of people are saying they don't want a business. But I think for those of us who have actually gotten help, we need to speak about that more, and probably even, I guess, for want of a better word, normalize.
Normalize, yes. Normalize getting
normalize
help.
it. Yeah. As we're wrapping up, we started out talking about the whole idea of mental health and mental wellness to make sure that people know the distinction. So let's just backtrack to what we started with, Raeann. How for somebody who probably just skipped to the end of this podcast, said, I don't know what these people are talking about. So we're going to leave them with that. What for you would be the one word that would encapsulate all that's been covered to distinguish between mental health and mental wellness?
Mental health, think, feel, act. Mental wellness, functionality. How well you function.
Yeah. Love it, love it, love it. Thanks for sharing.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
This was Make It Last podcast. It's all about helping us to have better relationships, not just with ourselves, but with other people. I'm Noreen Daly. Until next time.
Mothers and fathers, husbands and wives, sisters and brothers,